Hello, I'm Chris.
And I'm Matthew.
Welcome to the Still Wondering podcast.
We are two brothers in our 30s trying to figure life out. So come and join us for a wonder.
Oh, hi.
Hi there.
Welcome to episode 22.
22 of the Still Wondering podcast.
Oh, so I just splashed a bit. Don't worry. It's
Sorry, I just ruined my shirts next to my iron. Thanks, bro.
It's just an ornamental iron by Babantia.
I actually use this. It's not ornamental.
And we are back to Matt's ironing board. We are back in familiar surroundings after our little holiday in Cambridge. Well, I only came along for one evening, didn't I? But
yeah. It was a work retreat.
Work retreat. For me, it was a holiday.
It's tax deductible there.
You were doing actual work. I just popped in to
well, we filmed the podcast.
Drink tea, do the podcast, go for a meal. Nice meal as well, Las Iguanas.
Las Iguanas, I wasn't that impressed. It was the service, wasn't it?
Oh, the service was
terrible.
Yeah.
The food was okay. I wouldn't recommend it though.
No.
Just based on the service, really.
I know what you mean.
What are we talking about, bro?
We're talking about, profound news. The Queen died.
She did.
And, yeah, I mean, I think we all knew it was going to happen. This
is a sombre start to the podcast.
It is a sombre start.
But it's relevant.
Yeah.
It's relevant.
And it feels like you can't not mention it. And I think we're both of an age where, obviously, the Queen, we've only known the Queen.
Yeah.
And you know, banknotes and stamps and everything. And so it feels... Or I certainly felt like a very profound moment for the country, and I've been stuck to the news on the day where she wasn't very well. I was stuck to it, thinking this is a big thing in our lives. And she, you know, I'll put my cards on the table and say I'm not really a royalist. Like, the idea of hereditary rule is not something that my lefty leniencies would bring me to. But I do think the royal family is important. I would prefer that we had a royal family than didn't. I think they're very important for our sense of British identity, and I think they're very important for the economy in terms of tourism as well.
Yeah.
So I felt sad. I generally felt like the Queen did her job very well in terms of her neutrality and in terms of the dignity that she performed it with.
Yeah.
You know, she managed to...
She was a professional through and through, right?
Pro. She was a pro. That's a great way of putting it.
I think it's a bit of an understatement, actually. It's like she dedicated her life to that role.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, then that's, yeah. And it was professional all the way through.
Yeah.
Right up to the very end. I don't know whether it was a hooky line or a bit of clickbait earlier on, but I was scrolling through social media and it said the Queen only broke protocol once during her entire reign. And I think it was when she lost her husband, I think. It was the only time she ever did anything kind of out of line for protocol. But yeah, when she passed away, Mum called me up and sort of said, I thought I'd let you know that the Queen's dead. And I thought, okay, I would have found out. I don't know, I didn't feel as if it hit me quite as hard as it has hit other people. I did, however, all that night I went to the pub to have a drink and a bite to eat, and they had it on the TV, sort of, it was rolling around the life of the Queen from the very beginning. And I was glued to it. It was just like, wow, it really opened my eyes to how much she's accomplished, and also what's such a big part of, you know, her 70-year reign. Yeah, like how much of that has how many people she's affected. Like some people would have been born and died within that time of that reign.
Yeah.
And it's something that we'll never experience again. So yeah, it was a sad thing to see. And then another thing that hit me was the God Save Our Gracious Queen. The words are now going to change. And the likelihood is we'll never sing Queen in our lifetime again.
That's
true. Which is really odd, because that song is just the song. You don't change the lyrics to the song. That's just very odd. But you said God Save Our Gracious King. That sounds so weird.
God Save Our Gracious King. Yeah, well...
Yeah. And for some reason, saying King out loud feels a bit more aggressive. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like we're being ruled by a king now, whereas the Queen, like I like the idea of matriarchies.
Yeah, definitely a motherly protection.
It feels safer
of the empire, as it were. Yeah.
Whereas a king feels dangerous and risky.
He's obviously kings invade, queens protect. some strange way. Yeah, it's probably linked to our experience of gender roles as kids or something, isn't it? When we were
Yeah.
yeah. But now, if you're a queen and you're watching, feel free. You can invade whomever you wish.
It's
the world we live in now.
It's,
and kings, don't feel you have to invade
No.
anywhere. You don't need to if you don't want to.
Yeah.
If it's not your inclination, not how you identify.
Yeah. Exactly. There we go. We've covered all bases there.
We've ticked all the boxes.
Hope we don't have to do that every single time.
Oh man. What do you think Charles would be like as king?
I mean, he is going for king, isn't he? Because the Queen wanted him to.
Oh, the moment she died, he's taken it on.
He takes it on, but he still has to be enrolled. Like there's a process, and he either chooses whether he takes on that role or not.
Oh yeah. Well, he did a television address last night,
Right.
and he's committed to
He's taking
the
role.
public, like the Queen did when she was in South Africa when her dad died. She became Queen straight away, but you still have to make that commitment, I think.
That's right.
And then there's a whole load of ceremony that goes on. Like today, there's some kind of council meeting proclamation where it's shouted from the balcony, ceremonial type thing. So, from what I've read, the moment the monarch dies, it automatically passes to the heir. But then there's sort of a sequence of
You could basically say, I don't want that.
ceremony. I think so, yeah.
And then it passes on to the next person.
Yeah. And then technically at any point during your reign, you could abdicate. Which is just, I don't want to do it, I'm passing it on to somebody else. So,
Yeah.
but for example, if you became really infirm or you started losing your marbles or something, then you could abdicate. Much like the Queen's uncle did when he
That's
was
right.
king,
Yeah.
but he wanted to sleep with an actress or marry an actress or something, so he abdicated.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot. With the Queen's passing, there's been a lot of information going on.
That's good.
I quite like it. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. I think Charles, I think everyone likes him anyway. Do you know what I mean? He's a bit of a national hero.
I think
He's quite outspoken and says it as it is. I don't know if that's going to change now. He's taken on more of a kind of, in inverted commas, serious role. But, he's in his 70s, isn't he?
he's in he's in his 70s. He will need to be less outspoken, I think. Well, I suppose it's up to him, but what's expected of him is to rein it in to a more neutral point. But of course, because he has been quite outspoken, talking about the environment and climate change and all these sorts of things.
He's very big on that, isn't he? Yeah.
People already know what his leanings are, whereas I suppose the Queen never really had that opportunity because she was
Just so young.
Yeah, she was just so young. Probably,
And it wasn't expected for her to become Queen.
No, that's right. I think his address. I thought his address last night was very good, very good. He came across very human and a man that was mourning the loss of his mother, whilst also making commitments to his future. And I thought it was a lovely tribute and a lovely statement from him. Well done, Your Royal Highness.
I haven't seen it, so I need to go back and watch it.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
Well,
Poignant.
good
Yeah.
I think overall, it's a sad time, and in some respects, it's kind of an exciting time to see if this, if anything, brings any kind of change.
Yeah.
Like what will change as a result of this. But yeah, there was a lot of heartfelt pieces of artwork going around on social media. Sort of Paddington. I posted something up with the Queen and Paddington.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it?
Walking into the distance with one of the corgis. It's really lovely.
Yeah.
Thinking about that kind of makes me feel a bit emotional, I suppose.
Yeah.
But end of an era.
That's right.
But
and we, as you say, we won't know another Queen in our lifetime, will we? Because we'll have Prince Charles and then Prince William. I mean, you might live long enough to see past Prince William, but I don't think I will.
He's 40.
Yes.
So yeah, if I outlive, potentially.
You could see King George.
Yeah, if that's the way it goes.
That's the name he takes. I think that's the line of succession. It'd be George and then Charlotte and then his youngest Louis, I think.
Would When would Harry come into the picture? Or
Harry's
is he
way
now
down.
no longer a part of the picture?
He's way down. I mean, in terms of the line of succession, I think he's still in the line of succession. He's just been removed from removed himself from
Royal duties.
official royal duties. So
Right.
but he's still heir to the throne. But whilst William has kept procreating, he's just got
Stacking down.
knocked down the pecking order.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'd be William, and then his eldest, George, and then Charlotte, and then I think it's Louis. He's the youngest after.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or no, actually, it'd be if they grow up, have children, then it's their children. So it would be George's child
Oh, really?
after George. I think that's how it works.
Okay.
Don't quote me on this. I'm not.
If you know more about it, then do send an email in.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah,
be interesting to
absolutely.
read it out. Yeah.
I'd really like to know what you think. What do you think? Tell us. Would be interested to know, and we'll answer any questions, of course. Not as we've demonstrated, we have a thorough knowledge of how the royal how the monarchy works, but
You've got a better idea of it than me.
well,
Which actually brings me, this is a good time to check the email. Because I think we have had an email in.
oh really?
Yeah.
Woo!
We've had one
Exciting.
email. Right, let's just bring this bad boy up. Still wondering.
If you have questions, by the way, q@stillwondering.com. Wondering with an A, not an O. q@stillwondering.com. Or you can just pop it in the comments. That's cool as well. We don't mind. Yay!
It's quite a long email.
Oh, blimey. Strap yourself in. Okay.
Oh no, we can't. It needs to be anonymous, doesn't it? Shit.
Is it anonymous? I
We'll
don't
cut
think
that out.
I don't think we ever pledged.
This is from anonymous. We've just cut because this needs to stay anonymous. We just read out their name. It's not a good start, is it? So yeah, we've got. Shall I just read it out?
Go for it.
Okay. So, my experience of friends is this. When I was a kid, my friends were in the neighbourhood and at school. As a teenager, I didn't have many true friends. I lived in a bedsit and saw other residents for chats, but it was convenient. And it was the same with my work colleagues. In my relationships, I've made friends with my partner's friends' girlfriends / wives. Also, they're female. I've made friends easier when I became a mum. We had similar things in common, lots of time with each other and our kids, tea and chats, shopping together, and occasionally a night out. I've had lots of fair weather friends over the years, but only a handful of true friends. I've had moments of wishing I had more friends, then making friends with people who sucked the life out of me. I've experienced that before. It took a long time for me to realise how much energy I put into friends who were far too needy and not really a friend to me. After reading an article in a magazine one day about decluttering your friends, I decided that I needed to do just that. I was not brave enough to tell them that I was dumping them. So, well, yeah, it would be a nice way of doing it. So I distanced myself from at least 2 friends who I felt were too much like hard work, and it worked. I was relieved that I didn't have to give them any more of my energy. I only have a handful of friends these days, but that's enough for me. They need to be nurtured, a bit like a plant, watered and taken care of. Some I don't see for ages, but we can pick up where we left off. Others who I see more regularly see me more at my normal state. Bad hair days, pyjamas on, no makeup. These friends feel a bit more natural, as I feel that I can be myself more. I think I resonate with some of that, and I think some of that is kind of, I think the bit about sort of they need to be nurtured a bit like a plant, watered and taken care of. I probably don't reach out to my friends enough. Yeah, I think that's the takeaway I give that. Thank you for writing in, Anonymous.
That's really, really, really insightful. I agree with it. I think I picked up on that thing about fair weather friends and people that kind of suck the energy out. There's a great, it just reminded me of something, a TV show called What We Do in the Shadows. And it's based in New York. It's about a group of vampires. And one of the vampires, the way they feed, is they feed the energy off people because they're so intensely boring and needy. And it just reminded me of that. And I think in the past I've had people that have sucked the energy. And when you're younger, I think you just go along with it
Yeah.
because they're your friend and you don't really have the social skills to recognise when somebody's sucking the life out of you. But as I've got older, I'm definitely more wary of how much of a friend are they? You know, how many questions do they ask of you, or is it always you that's asking questions of them? And just being more alert to that. And I think I've put more barriers in to not get too friendly with somebody that I think is probably more like that. And I don't want to make that investment.
No, I think, before it was like anyone was a friend that just showed interest in hanging out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, we're friends then, I guess.
Yeah.
There was no kind of decision making. As far as I recall, if I wanted to hang around with someone, or if someone wanted to hang around with me, then became friends.
Yes, was it? You were friends then, yeah.
Yeah. There was a point in my life, I went through a breakup and kind of cut a lot of people out of my life. And it was at that point, I think, I kind of, over the next couple of years, I then realised certain people in my life that weren't good for me. So it's like I haven't revisited those particular people because it's like, you were not good for me and I wasted a lot of time hanging around with you. So yeah, I think there's certain people which I definitely recognised in my life that just, weren't good for me. And I think since then, I'm not so, like, making friends isn't so high on my priority list. I think it'd be cool to have a friendship group, but there's a part of me that also thinks that was something that happened when you're in your 20s. It feels like when you're in your 30s, like a lot of my friends have kids or they've got other commitments and other shit they've got to get done. Whereas in my 20s, like there was a group of us, like 8 or 9 of us that would hang out every single weekend, and that was really cool. Like barbecues every weekend. We're around someone's house doing something. So yeah, that's something I kind of miss, I suppose, is that kind of sense of community. But now I've got a handful of friends that I'll hang around with once in a while, like go on work retreat with Angus and Liz, for example. Sort of, there's more of a like-mindedness there, whereas before it was kind of we were friends because we went to the same school and we hung out in the same classes. Yeah, they're still friends for life, but I didn't kind of choose those friends. Yes, if that makes sense. There's nothing, I'm not dissing them at all. But there's people that are more like-minded to me that I'm starting to recognise, okay, there are people like me that I can make friends with and that get me. Whereas before, maybe I came across as really intense and like too pushy about like doing shit and getting stuff done, which I'm by no means very good at myself, but I like talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you see the value in it. And yes, and I guess, like, for example, with Liz and Angus, they're similar mindset. They're used to wanting to sort of go for something and have a plan and do the plan and or recognise that you're not doing the plan and what are you going to do about that, accountability and all that kind of stuff. So
it's all of that stuff. Like, it's the same language. We're talking the same language.
Yes,
it's like, okay, get it.
Rather than
rather than like accountability. I'm well, shut up, Pat. Just play FIFA. It's like,
exactly.
I'm just not interested in playing a game for 6 hours.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and they've potentially done this. Like me, once I get to 5 o'clock Friday, that's it. I've done my work for the week, and earned the money for that week. If you see what I mean. Whereas yours is all, what money am I going to be making next? How am I building towards? Because you are your own boss. And the future direction of whatever you do and the money you earn from it is entirely based on you having a plan and doing it. Whereas with me, I've just got to log on. And I start earning money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as I remember to turn up for work, which is in one of my spare rooms.
As long as you can throw something on your trousers or your top half even.
Yeah. I mean, during the pandemic, I don't think I wore underwear for best part of 2 years.
Right,
so
you didn't wear underwear?
I was wearing pyjama sort of loungewear.
You're comfortable.
Yeah.
Not wearing underwear.
Yeah, it's fine. I like the freedom. What can I say?
I don't think I can do that.
No, you like to feel constrained.
Not constrained, it's just controlled. Contained. I don't know if I've got
dangerously going to slip into.
Don't careful the words you're using.
Which is just remember, we've got to put a title above this episode.
This is true. We're finding the title now, I think.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think I can.
How do we loop this back now?
I can. No, this is a topic for another day, but yeah, I'm shocked by that. The entire pandemic, no underwear. Wow. Okay.
Well, yeah. Yeah, because we weren't going out, so I was just in loungewear and...
I'm saved on the washing, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's economical.
Yeah.
Fair email. Fair enough. Let us know. Do you wear underwear? Can you go without underwear? How do you sleep at night? Emails, Q are still wondering. We're reading them all out. Hey, where were we? We were talking about
We were talking about friends.
friends and working. Oh, that was it. Exactly.
Yeah, friends working, that's right. And I on previous episodes we said friends, are they worth it? And slightly the wrong question, isn't it? It's more like friends,
Who do you pick?
who do you pick? Yeah?
Or who's right for you? I don't know.
Who's right?
I think there's also friends like, what's that saying? Friends for a reason, a season, or forever or something, isn't there?
I've not heard that phrase, but I think I like where it goes.
So it's kind of like you have friends for a reason, which is like, oh, maybe you're in a certain place in your head and you meet someone that's like-minded and you kind of, whether it's helping each other through that thing and then the only thing that you had in common with that person was the problem.
Oh,
when the problem is solved, you then kind of dissipate away from each other.
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess like if you're really into hockey, then you might hang out with your hockey friends, but then when you stop playing hockey, there's nothing else of interest to keep you in touch. I think that's the season one. That might be the reason one.
What's the reason?
Season, I think it's just seasonal friends, but they just kind of come and go. Like you might just hang out for a bit and then fizzle out for no particular reason.
Yeah.
And then for a lifetime, are the friends that you kind of stick around with and are there forever.
I think there's very few of those friends. I could probably count five of those sorts of friends that I've known since school and that I continue to see and enjoy very much. And and there's no particular regularity to it. Like, we must see each other every 3 months. 'Cause I think that'd be a bit contrived. But just when you do see each other, you just
it's like nothing ever.
It's like nothing has gone. One of those is Craig, who I saw the other day. Johnny would be another one actually that I saw recently, and you just meet up randomly and take off where you left off, really, which is really, really nice. They're sort of longer term friends. I can't imagine not being in contact with them for the rest of my life, and I'd have no reason. They don't drain me. They bring different things to my life, and I hope I do for them, and that's the perfect kind of friendship model, I think, to be honest. Whereas if I get the friends for a reason, I'm trying to think of an example. One would be where I've been doing music stuff and we've had where we've had somebody help us with a certain part of it. You get quite chummy, you get quite friendly, but then the project ends, and the project's ended, and you lose that strength of connection.
There's no other facet to keep you...
Yeah, you were bound by the music, but actually you don't know them very well to extend that by much, if you know what I mean. We might keep in contact a little bit, but it feels a little bit superficial. Not superficial is the wrong word. Just a little bit thin.
Like forced almost. Like, I'm trying to hold this together.
Yeah, I'm keeping in contact, niceties, but are we ever going to meet each other? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah,
I've got maybe... I think you're in contact with your school friends more than I am. So it's probably Sam and Alex are probably the two people I stay in somewhat contact with. I might see them maybe once or twice a year for a pint. But that's about it. From school, I think. I'm just sort of going over names in my head. I'm going to miss somebody out, clearly.
You're going to offend.
But yeah, but those... I mean, who's going to be watching this? Let's get real.
The odds are slim.
Very slim. I think Sam and Alex are probably the only two people from school. The rest of them are probably from my time in Magic. So Chris McGeever has been there. Been a friend since, I don't know, I was probably around 15, 16-ish, so Young Magicians Club, that kind of age. And I think Magic is the thing that pulls us together, but there's a few other things that we're interested in. I think even if Magic were to fall by the wayside, 'cause Chris has fallen in and out of love with Magic. He's got a proper job, or he has another job besides the Magic. So that, I think, and there are other people that I would consider friends. Probably Lee.
Mm.
Lee is another one.
Yeah.
Probably 2 Lees that I could call. Yeah, I don't know. There's certain people that I don't know. It kind of goes through cycles of, is this person good for me at this point in my life? Probably not, because they're too draining, or they're too much like hard work, or they're not. I'm coming away from that. I came across this in a podcast or somewhere online. As if you meet with somebody, I might have mentioned this in the previous podcast, but if you meet with somebody, you come away from that interaction ruminating over what was said or why it was said, you try and sort of deconstruct why, then there's something that is telling you that isn't a particularly healthy interaction. Whereas if you come away from something just feeling good and nothing about it, then that's fine. But if you come away from it saying, what do they mean by that? Or why do I feel a little bit shit coming away from that interaction? If that happens time and time again, then it's an indicator to say, well, actually, maybe that person isn't good for you. Maybe that person is, maybe it's time to sort of distance yourself from that individual at this point in your life, because maybe that's just not a good match or a good fit for your psyche at the moment.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So I've kind of actioned that with a few people recently, just to distance myself a little bit, because I think I need
brutal
space from certain people. I think I remember Lee Hathaway, a friend of mine, saying something about, you're really good at kind of dealing with people, like cutting people out when they need to be cut out. I've never thought of it like that before, but I think maybe it is a good thing. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, because you would never consider it, but I think some people do see it as like almost like breaking up with friends. The thing is, I guess the thing with friendship is you never really say, let's be friends, unless you're 5 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, you be my friend. As you get older, you just sort of drift in and drift out. Whereas if you're in a relationship, you feel there's much more of a need, I think, to, what are we? Are we dating, or are we, you want to put a label on it to know where you stand. But with friendship, it's far more fluid and everything. But it still takes quite good strength of character to say, no thank you, and move on.
But it's not, and I think it is more like the other thing is, if they were calling all the time, then certain people just, do you know what I mean? There are certain green flags in your life where it's like, well, if they're not that interested in you, then how do I put this nicely? It's like, if somebody's not good for you, then you cut them out, and there's no kind of reach out again. Like, oh, hey, how you doing? Or, hey, we haven't spoken in a while, like, what's going on? Then it's like, well, they don't care as much either.
Yeah.
So it's no loss to anyone, really. It's not like I'm saying, right, I'm cutting them out, I'm going to ignore all their texts.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'll still pick up the phone to them, I'll still text them. If they want to re-establish something, then I need to put in fresh boundaries on how that's going to look.
How that'll work.
And push back against whatever it is they were throwing at me that I didn't like.
Yeah.
But there needs to be a point of silence where it's like, okay, we need to re-establish, boundaries again. I think that's the way I look at it. I don't think cutting people out. There's not many people in my life that I'll just cut out completely and just go, no, I'm not interested at all. I think there's only like one or two people I can think of.
Have to be like super toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense, man.
Yeah. I think that's probably. I mean, how long are we in? 27.
About half an hour.
Okay. It's a nice place to stop.
Covered a lot of ground.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of a loop round, but.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about friendship a couple of times, but it's something that's interesting to us. I think we're of that age where our relationships are something we think about more, aren't they? And it's something that we ruminate on. So I guess we're going to come back to this again at some point. As ever, comments, questions, please send them in. q@stillwandering.com, wandering with an A. And I think to end, I'd just like to say... Her Majesty the Queen, massive respect, and may she rest in peace.
Amen.
See ya.
In a bit.